individuals who have the luxury, and don't think it's not a luxury. You have a luxury of a home. You have a luxury of meals. You have the luxury of being able to take a yoga class. Okay? These are all luxuries that a lot of people don't have.
And the chai tea on Sunday also.
You have a luxury. These are luxuries some people don't have. That a relative security. You're not worried about somebody coming in and killing your whole family. All right?
Yeah.
So you have that luxury. But having that luxury makes you also responsible for doing something that is very important. And that is in the mental process. Rather than complaining about every little nudgel things in your life, you have to start thinking about the whole universe, the whole planet. Not just your own selfish little, oh, I don't have this, I don't have this, that, and so forth. Think of the whole planet and the responsibility, because if you have these luxuries, you now also have the responsibility of putting forth good things towards the planet. And good things towards the planet starts right here. Peace of the planet starts with one person at a time. It starts in the mind of one person. Peace is not accomplished anywhere through the government, as you might have noticed. They cannot create peace. Peace comes from the population. If everybody wants peace, peace will be there. And if we have this luxury where we are not being threatened, and we're not, look at all the people that have to leave their homes, etc., because they're being bombed. We don't have any of that. So we can think peace. They can't think peace. They have to think survival. So they have no option but to think in terms of survival. All right? So this is our responsibility now. And we need to take it more seriously, because things are really in an upheaval right now in order to make a change. Change cannot come on this planet unless we ask for it. And we have to take that responsibility, because you are blessed. And you do have luxuries. And that we now have to take it. So when we're talking about a prayer for world peace, we have to really start thinking, every time you say this prayer, your mind has to go into it to the point where your heart is involved. When your heart is involved, changes come. It's a very simple thing. Once the heart is involved, change will come. Intellect does not do the same thing. So I can tell you what the intellectual thing is, but you have to feel it. When we feel something, that's when it makes a difference. Intellectually, you can think 1,000 things. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. They don't make changes, but a feeling makes changes. Makes change in your own life, makes change in the life around you. And so prayer for world peace is also prayer for your peace. So I haven't met anybody who doesn't want peace. Who doesn't want peace? You all want peace? Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is going to be a bore if you all have peace.
It's okay.
No conflict. I'll have to start yelling at you like I yell at Uma. Just to create conflict.
Thank you.
It's okay. I'll take it.
No, we all need peace. We all want peace. And don't worry, the world will not be a bore. There's more to a life than peace. So we're asking the Lord, may your hand lead us. And here's the thing, really, when we say a prayer, truthfully speaking, if you really understand, you're not going back all the way to the divine. You're not going back all the way there. God can, you're going back to your own soul self, your higher self, which you have fragmented from. With other words, there is a dimension of you that is even beyond what you call your soul or your Holy Spirit. There's a dimension of you that is even beyond that, and we call that the higher self. Your I am presence. I am that. That means that person is actually a divinity, a fraction of the entire divinity. We are but a fraction of that. From that, we have separated, and every incarnation we have a soul self. And that's your Holy Spirit, your soul, whatever you always talk about. And that is also connected to your divine self, to your higher self. So it's a beautiful setup, because what happened to us, we started with that higher self, and then we decided, well, oh, look at all the power I have, because God has all the power, or the divinity, or whatever you want to call that kind of energy. I don't care what you call it. It's usually referred to as God, but it's an energy, that universal energy, that absolute universal energy that everybody has, every person has. That energy we came with complete. There was nothing lacking. Nothing lacking. We had the same power as God. Fraction. But the same power. But a fraction of it. Not the whole. Okay? And then we took, because we had so much power and we saw how nicely we did everything, we started saying, look at how great I was. Look at what I created. Rather than giving up the power to the divine that gave you that power, you started thinking it was your own, and that you were better than God knows what. And that's how we refracted down. So now we are in this, what we call Kali Yuga, and we're having a hard time with that. But we still have a soul, and we still have a higher self. And so when you say, our Lord, when you say a prayer, you're actually saying the prayer to your higher self. And that's always with you. Always. That person, that individual, that part of you is there. But that part is not allowed to interfere unless you ask. That part is not going to interfere. But it's always there. Just like your guardian angel is always there, this part is always there. You wouldn't be alive if you didn't have this. Okay? And that never leaves you, no matter how many incarnations you have, no matter how good you were in this world and how bad you were, it doesn't matter. It's always there. And it is so close to you that if you just say something, if you just ask something, it has to be given to you. And if I explain that, you can, in this context, maybe you can even get that a little bit more. Because people say, I don't want to say prayer because the Lord is busy. He's creating the entire world, and I don't want to bother him or her or it. It's not. There is a fraction of you that wants you to come back to your original self. And it's even better than what your incarnated soul is. And we usually talk about the soul as where you want to go. Well, here's even further. We can even go further than that. We can come back to our original self. And if you ask, it will be given to you because it's you. It's your real you. Your real you is part of the divinity that everybody shares. Okay? There's no separation between us, except that we have fractioned off. So, when you say, oh Lord, help me, you are bound to get help. But it has to come from the heart. It can't come from the intellect. It doesn't work from the intellect. It's as simple as that. It has to come from the heart. And usually people don't do that until they get into a real mess and they are so bad, all of a sudden they'll say a prayer, oh God, please help me. I can't handle this. But you have to really feel it. So when you say a prayer, you come to the point where you really want to feel it. And when we say a prayer for peace, it has to come from the heart, so that you will tap into that higher self of yours and that divinity that has a direct connection to the ultimate divine, that you want that connection. So it's a step up. It's a beautiful way this was done. And it says, let your hand lead me from the unreal to the real. What do we mean by the unreal to the real? The unreal is this life, this personality that I have assumed. This is really one part of me only. My real self is divine. Can I look at myself as I'm sitting here or you're sitting there? You can't look at us as being divine, can you? We have mistakes, we have likes, we have dislikes, we have prejudices, so we can't look at ourselves as divine. We can look and know that we came from the divine, we know that we have divinity within us, but we can't look at us as being divine. How can we? We make mistakes. And divinity doesn't. So, lead me from the unreal, which is this world, to who I really am, which is the destiny of every single soul. It is the absolute destiny. We all have to go back to our original source. And what is in the higher self is also in the lower self. A tree grows up, right? It breaks the seed, it grows up, it dies, it goes back to the earth. Whatever came from the earth goes back into the earth. Wherever we came from, we will have to go back to. We can grow in between. We grew into these individuals that we are, and we see separation rather than unity, and so we keep going further away. The more separation you see, the further you will go away. And we have to understand that this is not the reality. And that's what we call lead us from the unreal to the real. Our concept of the real is almost unimaginable. We can't really imagine it. We have to have faith. There has to be a certain amount of faith that religions talk about. You have to have faith that you are part of the divine. Because for us, that's like, it's unimaginable that we have the same power as divinity. Doesn't seem right? Doesn't seem like it is. But then take a look. Every individual is different. And every person has created a different life for themselves. And guess what? Everything that's in our life, we have created. And you say, no, I didn't want that. Yes, you created everything around you. And we call that the law of karma. The law of action and reaction. Okay. So, lead us from the unreal to the real. And enlighten us, with other words, lead us from darkness to light. Same process. From death to immortality. This is what happens. When we get enlightened, we call it enlightenment, which means light, or when we have self-realization, what happens is we don't need to incarnate again. And so we call this death. Two things are guaranteed. The first day you're born and the last day. Everything in between is not guaranteed. There are only 2 days guaranteed in your life. The day you were born and the day you're going to die. And the minute you're born, you're ready to die. Because you have to. Because that's the law of this planet right now and our life. So this is what we call the time of, we call this death. This lifetime is death. So lead us from death to immortality. When you reach self-realization, when you have stopped creating this nonsense that we're creating to create this life, when you have taken back the real self, who you really are, and your higher self, you merge back with the source. And there will be no more incarnations. And therefore, you will be immortal, which you are anyway. But you won't have to go through death anymore. We are immortal. Guess what? You don't die when you die. Your physical body dies, but you don't die. You know how you move from one house to the next, or one apartment to the next? That's what death is for us. We're moving from one house to the next. It might be a better house, or it might not be. Depends upon what we choose the next incarnation. So, that's really what happens when what we call here death. But then it requires us to be reincarnated unless we have reached self-realization. And none of us are ready for that right now. So we're going to be in the halls of death. But we want immortality. We have immortality. It's just how many lifetimes are we going to do this till we reach the final immortality, which is back to the source. And then just think about it. What is the source? God is the source. Divine energy is the source. Anand, bliss, is the source. When we talk about the highest attainment of humanity is bliss, Anand. That is when we're back to the source. That is where we have full joy. That is where we are feeling complete. The fact that we don't have joy is because we feel incomplete, which is truthfully so. We are not complete. And that's why we feel a lack. And that's why we feel tension. And that's why we feel these things, because we're not complete. And believe you me, even if God could give you that feeling, He wouldn't until you go back there. Because if you felt complete, you wouldn't make an effort.
That's true.
And we started, unless there's a friction, there's no change. So unless you're unsatisfied with your life, you want to go change it. So here we go. Lord, may your hand lead us. And you know what? The Lord, or your higher self, or whatever, if you allow yourself to surrender to the divine, it is like a baby surrenders in your arms when you're a mother. The baby just surrenders in the arms, right? Just lets go. There's no tension, it just lets go because it knows mommy will take care of it and will not have any problem. When that kind of surrender, then everything in your life will be exactly as it's supposed to be in order for you to move towards that immortality. No, that doesn't mean it's going to be only joy. I said everything it's supposed to be for you to move towards your immortality. That means maybe things will not be so happy because you have lessons to learn. You're not here on this world to be happy. Oh, you didn't know that?
But to look for it.
You're here to enjoy this world. That means enjoy your time here. Enjoy the good with the bad. Because if you were really here, if you were really here, if you were absolutely here with your whole mind in this moment, there wouldn't be good or bad. Because the only thing you can see as good or bad is the comparison of what you have previously experienced or what you want in the future. So when you're really here, which it means meditation, there can be no bad. It's just an experience. Isn't that interesting? So my concept is, this is good, this is happy, that's not. This is bad. That comes from here. It's really not. First time I seriously read the Bhagavad Gita. And it says, a self-realized sage has this quality, and it goes on like 2 pages of all the things that a self-realized sage has. I'm going, wait a minute. How can anybody ever attain that? How can that ever possibly happen? How can anyone have all of those qualities? I said, I might as well just give up now. I mean, just give up. Because this is impossible. Then with further study, which is called years, not studies. Okay. Further study of years, not days and weeks, I come to realize that when you are in meditation and you are in the now moment where you're not going to the past and not looking for the future, you have all those qualities. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? All the qualities are there. Because you will not be judgmental. You will not be needing anything. You will not be hankering after anything. You will have all the qualities if you're in the present moment. And that present moment is called meditation. Well, once I found that out, I said, well, I can go back on the path. Because it is doable, I can meditate. Occasionally. At least I can get there once in a while. Okay. So, all these qualities are here, then. They're in our mind, because we compare our life to the past. We compare our life to what we think is happy and what we think is not happy. Yes, this is a world of duality. Right? Night, day, black, white, so I can see. It's a world of duality. So nothing is ever going to be 100% happy, and nothing is ever going to be 100% sad. It's just, there's no question about that. And for us to expect to live a life of bliss is very ignorant. Because there's going to be suffering. Somebody you love is going to die because that's our destiny. Somebody that you care about is not going to say the right word and you're going to get hurt. But if you were in meditation, that would just be an experience at that moment. An experience. It would not leave a scar. Right now, if somebody says something negative about you, that you care about, it leaves a scar. It leaves a thought behind. And you have a whole thing. Oh, they don't care about me. Oh, poor me, etc., etc. Right? Right? You have that whole reaction. But in meditation, you would just at that moment experience that. And that's it. It would be an experience in that moment. And after that moment, the experience is gone. Ah, isn't that interesting? So what are we holding? We're holding concepts that we have created. Because our real truth is that we should be in the moment only. So as much as we created this world, we also created our mind stuff called chitta. So, lead us from death to immortality. So more immortality can be gotten through what? What did I just say? Meditation. We must learn to control the mind. Because the mind is creating the world around us and creating our fears, our loves, our hates, everything else. And that's what yoga is all about. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, controlling the mind waves. Okay?
So, even though you meditate and you may not reach some, high state, it still generalizes into your everyday life where you're more accepting of everything.
Correct. Any person who meditates, really meditates, their life changes. If your life hasn't changed and you think you have been meditating for years, know that you have not been meditating, you've been in La La Land. Because so many times, Motherji and I used to laugh at this. People would come, I have been meditating for 30 years, and then we find out what their life is like. And we go, no, you haven't, because it would not be that way if you've been meditating for 30 years. Your life would be more in your control. And you would be able to live in society more efficiently. And you would be able to handle your life, and you would have enough abundance, not necessarily too much, but you wouldn't be homeless. Okay? None of that, because you would be able to create what you need. Maybe you still have problems creating what exactly you need, but whatever it is, your life would become more manageable and you would be more effective in society. So the more you meditate, the more your life will come to ease. Know that to be absolutely true. There is no question about it. The more you meditate. Can you meditate every day? You can sit for trying to meditate every day. Will you always get into meditation? No. But that doesn't matter, because when you sit to try to meditate, your mind is under your focus. When the mind is under your focus, you are controlling your thought waves, and your mind is beginning to know that you have control. Right now you have two minds. One that wants to control you and one that wants to be controlled. Okay? And they're constantly interacting and talking to each other. Have you noticed? Yes. Have you talked to yourself? Yes. Okay? And one wants control and the other one wants dominance. Okay? So you learn, that's how you learn. Sitting every day for meditation is important. Doesn't matter if you get into it or not. And making the effort, you see, any effort, that hand that I told you, that divine hand, the one that if you relax and surrender to it, that hand is there all the time to catch you. It is like a loving father, or however you want to look at God, as father or mother, I don't care. That hand is there as a loving father, as a loving mother, who has your protection in mind. And you can feel that hand. When it says, may your hand lead us, you can feel it. It is right there. It's in your heart. It's like somebody is nurturing you, if you can ever feel that. It would be so, you will not believe how beautiful that feeling is. That no matter what happens to you, you feel nurtured. No matter, you know that beautiful poem about the 2 footsteps in the sand,
Yes.
okay? And then there was 1 footstep only, and then 2 footsteps again, and then the devotee goes, why did you leave me alone walking? He says, I didn't leave you alone, I carried you. And that's exactly the point. This is, if you can feel that, you can really feel it. Even during the tough times, the Lord will carry you. You will feel it. It will still be a tough time, but you feel nurtured. You feel that carrying. You feel like you can handle it. Okay? Like I said, it's not going to be much easier, but you feel that handling. It's so beautiful. So, lead us from death to immortality. We got the first stanza. We have a few more to go. Okay, we got, may all be happy. Look, we have to stop isolating people. Do you know that every heart is the same heart? Every soul is the same person. We are one individual. The whole of humanity. Some people don't know where to go. Some people have wrong knowledge. But we are one. So we want to pray for everybody. Not just, unless you believe in Christ, you're not saved. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. For a religion to say that is heresy. I'm sorry to tell you that. That is absolutely, totally in opposition to everything that is divine. Because, and that's why I asked my nun, does God send himself to hell? Because God is omnipresent. So how can he? God is omnipresent. God is in everybody. Okay? So how to say that unless you believe a certain way, God is not there? How can you say that? You cannot say that. It is impossible. That you don't know God if you can say that. And that's why I'm not in black, obviously. I had to choose orange, because in orange you can teach anything, as long as it's towards the divine. Okay. So may all be happy, may all be peaceful. And let's all of them, not just a few, not just a special few, get enlightened and cultured. Let's not just have certain people that deserve divinity. Everybody deserves it. Everybody. And even in the Hindu tradition, they have, they take the caste system. That one deserves more than this one, blah, 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 because humanity does that. Except in chapter 18. Of course, they don't like me to teach that. But except in chapter 18, where Krishna says, even the lowest, or what they call the lowest, the untouchables, can reach me, Krishna being God. Even the untouchables can reach me. So there goes out the whole concept that only, if you go only through the higher, the Brahmins, if you can only go through the Brahmins to get to God's realization, there goes that. The untouchables can reach me because every soul can reach the Lord. And it doesn't matter what you're born in, where you're born, as long as you make the effort. And what is that effort? What did I say is the effort?
Meditation.
Meditation. Because only through meditation will we realize who we really are. Will we realize that there is more to us than this physical form, our environment. Only through meditation. And may all attain perfection. We want everybody to come along. All right? So how do you think about that when you're saying the prayer? I take myself out of the planet and look at the world like a globe from a space. See, we were lucky enough in the 60s, they went to the moon and they took us photos and showed us the space, what it looks like. And it's nice, you know. We didn't have that before. And it's nice. You can now zoom out and take a look at the planet. And when you may all be peaceful, that isn't just human beings. Look at everything that's on the planet. Because every creature needs peace. Every creature deserves to be here. There has to be a reason for that creature to be. And then we now know, and we've done it scientifically, do you know that plants have feelings? You know that if you have a green thumb. Mine isn't green. It doesn't work. Okay? Plants have feelings. They did that research in the 60s. Plants have feelings. So when you look at the planet, you're not just looking at people. You're looking at the whole kit and caboodle. All right? And we have to know that the planet is alive. Mother Earth, we call it, right?
Yes.
Yes, she is alive. She's creating all of us. Yeah. We're all just the same stuff, you know. We take you down into, you know, the elements. What are you? 90 cents worth in elements. Okay. So, may peace be established in the three bodies of man. And this is the part that most people don't understand. You have your physical body. Then you have your astral body. And that's your mind. And that's where you go every night. And you have your dreams in the astral world. And if you go to La La Land in your meditation, you're in the astral world. And you can see all sorts of things like you see in dream. You see all sorts of things in dream. Okay? That's your mental world. That's your subconscious mental world. And that's your subconscious and conscious mental world. So your mind is not sitting in here. The brain is a way to take that body, that mental body, and interpret it. But the brain sits outside of yourself. The brain is the tool that we use for that particular body. And then we have the next body, our etheric body. And that's the emotional part of us. Now that's the most important part. Because the emotional part goes into the heart center. And when you come into Vijnanamaya Kosha, or the heart center, it's where you can start developing compassion, love, caring, all of those things that are needed to nurture ourselves back to the divinity that we really are. And so that's the third world. The Ananda, we don't have to ask for peace in that. It says, may peace be established in the three bodies of men. An Ananda body already has peace. So we don't have to worry about that. So it's your physical body, because if you have pain, you can't be thinking about your mental body, except on the physical body. And your emotional body needs to have peace. When it has peace, when your emotional body is at peace, your physical body will be. Your mental body will be. Did you know that? All diseases, etc., start from the emotional body. All the discordant energies start from the emotional body and have to be cleared through the emotional body. That's why you need, when you are working with any kind of discomfort, which I am, and I'm trying to figure out how to handle it emotionally. It's not so easy. I know what it is, but that doesn't mean you can take care of it. Is where you need to do the work first, and then come to the mental, and then come to the physical. But it works in the reverse also. And that's why we have doctors. They immediately allow you to, take the pressure off your physical body for a time being so that you can start on the healing process. Okay? Doctors cannot heal. They can temporarily relieve symptoms. The healing has to come from your own self. Doctors can relieve symptoms, but they do not heal.
I'm thinking of something Marion used to do, our old teacher of asana, and people would say, oh, I can't do shoulder stand because, 3 years ago I had a neck strain. And she would say, well, try it now. And it's like getting off of medication, because doctors could just say, oh yeah, I remember you, keep taking it. Next year, oh, keep taking the medication. But you have to experiment yourself and see if maybe you don't need it, or maybe you only need it once in a while.
People are not willing to work on themselves. This is the problem.
Yes.
And therefore they do need to take the medication. But medicine cannot heal. Your body heals itself, but your body heals in the three bodies. Everybody's only thinking about the physical body. The healing has to be in the mental body and in the emotional body. Those three bodies must be working in harmony. And that's how you heal. You can get temporary relief so that you can work on it. While you are in extreme pain, etc., etc., naturally you can't work on all three bodies. That's what you need the doctor for. Or doctors are great when you come into an accident or something like that, and they set your limbs back straight, put pins in wherever needed, put a new hip in so that you can run around, new knee. They're great for things like that. But then find out what caused it, because it will cause it again, unless you take care of it. Okay? And a lot of people do take care of it finally, and then it doesn't come back. Then the cancer won't metastasize again. This is the difference. But if they don't, it will come back with a vengeance, because you had the chance. So, you want, in the three bodies of men, you want peace in your physical form. In other words, you want to be healthy, full of vibrancy, full of everything. Like Paula. Have you seen Paula? Paula is quite on in years. We won't say how much. But she's a senior. She still does wheel pose. She comes to yoga. She comes to Monday night yoga to compete with the boys over there. Yeah. Okay. You want good physical health. You want good mental health. In other words, you don't want any hang-ups in your mind. You want to release them. You want to let go. You want to just get rid of them. Because, boy, they really keep you down. And then you want an open heart. Uh-oh. Open heart. Whoop. This is what happens with people. Open heart, you're afraid that the heart is going to get hurt. What did I say in the beginning? This is a world of duality. The heart is going to get hurt. So what? It's going to get hurt. You have no choice about it. But if you close it, it will always be hurt. And it will not experience the joy in between. So then there won't be a duality. There will be flat line of nothing but hurt. So open the darn heart already. And don't be afraid it's going to get hurt, because it's going to get hurt. Just expect it. And enjoy it in between. Open the heart. Yes.
To be vulnerable is to be human.
Correct. But be vulnerable, doesn't matter. Open the heart, because what comes through the heart? Tell me, what is through the heart? Where is your soul residing? In your heart. What comes through the heart? Your divine self comes through the heart. This is why when we love, you saw the little baby just now. Noah. Didn't you go all smiles?
Yes.
Didn't your heart just go? Wasn't that a wonderful feeling? Yeah. Those big brown eyes. My God, this boy is big. He's heavy too. He sits on my lap.
Mokshapriya, I was thinking earlier, since you brought that up, I was thinking earlier about that we are going to fall and make mistakes, and I was thinking of a baby, and how a baby can pee and poop all over you and break things and throw food all over the place, but we love them so easily. But when we grow up, if somebody just looks at you wrong, it's all of a sudden.
I know.
Why is that?
Because God made all little things cute. Even a bear.
Yes.
A bear cub is adorable. A lion cub is adorable. You're not even afraid of a lion cub. Cub.
It bit my finger.
A lion cub?
I wasn't afraid of it, but it still bit my finger.
All little things are adorable so that we would take care of them, because they're innocent. That's why we allow our heart to open up. They're innocent. You know they can't hurt you. That's why you allow it to open up. Because you know it cannot hurt you. It can bite your finger, but it didn't hurt your heart.
No.
Okay? You know it cannot hurt you. That's why. It's safe. Safe. Why is everybody else unsafe? This would be the question to ask. Yes, people can hurt you. If you allow them to. This would be the next question. If you allow them to. If you're in meditation, it would be an experience, and it would leave you as quickly as it came. If you're here and now, it would leave you.
How do you not allow it to? Like if you know it and you know something shouldn't bother you, but it still bothers you, how do you let it go?
Don't focus on it. Don't feed it.
Experience it in the moment and don't think about it again.
Don't think about it.
Well, in other words, when somebody yells at you and it goes in one ear and comes out the other,
Yeah.
that's the idea.
Blow it off.
In other words, you don't take it into your heart. You take it as an experience.
Yeah, it's hard.
Very hard, because we are emotionally attached to certain things.
Yeah.
So it all comes back to the third body, the emotional body.
Yeah.
And so anything we want to cure has to start in the emotional body. The emotional body is the one that can be, is the most difficult. I can punch you in the face, give you a bloody nose, and that will be okay. But if I verbally mistreat you or don't think of you as good or whatever, that will stay with you the rest of your life. The nose cures itself, even if it's broken. The emotional body is the most difficult to handle. It's the one that but that's also the one that we need to open up most, because the divine energy flows through that. So if you open up your heart to a soul that is abusive, then you will begin to understand. Are you listening? You begin to understand why they are abusive. And if you do that, then you can truly make a choice if you want to be around that person or not.
It's good practice, I mean, in equanimity, being around somebody who's difficult.
But if you open your heart and you let them go on with their nonsense, excuse me, but with their stuff, and you have their heart, you have an open heart, you will understand what their problem is. That will be the difference. Once you understand their problem, you can handle it. But once you accept it, well, all people want to do is unload their stuff on you so they don't have to carry it. That's why they're abusive. That's the only reason people are abusive. They have hatred, they have anger, they have all of that, and they want to dump it on you. You had nothing to do with it. You just happened to be in the room. Okay? They just want to dump it. And if you don't take the package, who's left with the package? So, you're taking it in. You're accepting the gift. They have given you the gift of that anger or abuse, and you have taken it in. You have accepted it. You said, thank you very much. I ate it. Okay? Open your heart and let them go on and on and on and on, and you don't accept it. They know you don't accept it. They'll be even more furious because then they're stuck with that stuff. They're stuck. Okay? So it takes an open heart to be able to handle other things, because then you understand these people are, you almost feel sorry for them. Compassion comes in. Compassion. But if you take it in, and if you think it's personal, then that's different. And no, nobody abuses you unless you allow them to. Nobody can abuse you unless you allow them to. And that's what I mean by allowing. Allowing means taking it on. And you allow that to happen. Anybody who's abusing you, you're allowing them to do so. So, it's not them that you have to worry about, it's about you. And if we can understand that, then we need to make proper choices. But as long as you're emotionally attached, and as long as you take the junk that they give you as abuse, you might as well not detach from them, because they're there to show you that you shouldn't be taking abuse. And if you run away, there'll be somebody else that will do the same stuff to you until you open your heart, see their problem, and make a decision. Do I want to hang around these people? Do I want to change them? If they're your children, you better change them and hang around. But if they're not, that's another story. Then you can make a wise decision. So, the three bodies of man are very important to understand. And the most important body is your emotional body. And you will not come to be, first thing when I was reading all this stuff and I was thinking about doing this kind of work on myself, I'm going, well, if I have, if I get all these things, will I become a dull individual? That's something to worry about, will I be, no, I still have the same miserable personality. And I still yell. And it's not dull. Actually, it's much more interesting because it's internal work, and I don't have to climb mountains. I can climb mountains in my mind of work that needs to be done. Okay. So, may the same worlds are in the world. So we talk about the three bodies of man, we talk about the three bodies of the three worlds. And so we have mass consciousness as well. And we understand about mass consciousness. So again, there's the globe. And then there is the mass consciousness of the intellect around the globe. And then there is the mass consciousness of emotional thing around the globe. So the three worlds are the same. There is the physical world, there is the mental world, and then there is that emotional world. Okay. So Mother Earth has the same. And so when we say, may there be peace everywhere, you usually think in terms of country, 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 country. Well, when we say, may there be peace everywhere, we're talking about the whole kit and caboodle, including the emotional and the physical and the mental world. And that's what we're talking about. Does that make more sense when we say this prayer now?
Mhm.
Any questions? And you understand our motto, may truth be our religion. Not a specific religion, may the truth. And how do we come to truth?
Meditate.
It's the only way. When your heart is open, the truth comes through. The same way you will see the truth of another individual when your heart is open, same thing. Okay? Service be our worship. You have to serve humanity. If you're only serving yourself, it doesn't work. You crunch into yourself. There's only one way. You have to serve humanity. You have to open up. It's the only way. You must serve. You cannot just serve yourself. Now, if you have a family, God made it that way. So you have a family, you have kids, she had 8.
I make 11,
You made 11 kids.
but I have 5 alive.
Okay, now.
5 granddaughters and 5 grandsons.
Okay.
Wow.
So when we have a family, we have to serve the family. But we have to go beyond that. And if you don't have a family, if you don't have children, then you must serve somewhere else. Serving is necessary. We have a lot of people right now that are not choosing to have a family. They don't understand. You can't just live for yourself. You must go out and serve. If you don't have children, you must go out and serve. There has to be something that has to be done for humanity. Otherwise, you're being forced into it by raising kids. And you're forced into it for 20-some-odd years. Okay? You must serve. It's very important. Something has to be given. One of the ways of serving for you teachers is to teach yoga. That is serving, because that inspires people. And when you inspire a person, that's serving. Inspiration. Setting a good example. It's not just going, to the food bank. That's not it. Serving can be done in many manners. Can be done in the workplace that you are, whatever. And service is your worship. In other words, when we serve others, coming from the heart, that is how you are expressing God's love. Because it comes through the heart. Knowledge is our breath. World is our family. And how do you get there? Yoga. What is yoga? Not standing on your head. Total control over your mind waves is yoga. We have you standing on your head so that you can get total control over your mind waves. Because if you have some control over your physical body, you feel that you may have some control over your mind. And it works that way, doesn't it?
Yes.
You feel it. Okay? And then we bless ourselves. May our eyes see happy and noble things. May our ears hear happy and truthful words. This is a blessing that we're getting now. So we're not only praying for everybody else, we are also praying for ourselves. Okay. May our tongues be sweet and truthful.
That's a challenge.
May our bodies be divine instruments. And that's service. Okay. May noble thoughts come to us from all corners of the universe. And we couldn't for a longest time where we found where this was May we never leave God, may God never leave us. But I finally found it in one of the Upanishads, because all of this comes out of various prayers. Because that's so strange. May we never leave God, well, we're never separated from God. And may God never leave us, we're never separated, so why would that be? It's the mind has to have that. Our intellect needs to hear that. May we never leave God, our intellect. Hey, you're not just Mokshapriya, you got the God over here. And God should never leave you. So it's for the intellect, it's not for the truth. But it is in one of the Upanishads.
That's the first thing that ever bothered me when I came to the ashram and I heard that line.
Yeah.
I would puzzle over that.
Yeah.
May God never leave me.
Right, God doesn't leave you, God is omnipresent. But it's our mind that needs the reminder. The mental reminder needs to be there. Om, peace and love, Om, peace and health, Om, peace and enlightenment. So these last ones are just our own blessings that we're giving. So we're not just praying for the world, we're praying for ourselves too.
Yay.
Okay?
It's a beautiful
So
prayer.
now, every time you hear and say this prayer, will you have a new way of looking at it?
Yes. Thank you.
Good. So I can own you home?
Yes.